link up soon for one and enjoy one together.
I hope so.
So one of the things in doing kind of like you're writing books like with Gene, and I've interviewed Gene in the past, and I've interviewed some informants. That's the only way to get information. However, sometimes there's some pushback, or people are questioning the validity, or they may reach out to you, or it could be a victim. Have you had any pushback or any kind of anybody reach out?
No, I know enough people that I know who to call.
Yeah.
I mean, in one of my books, Tom, I think I forgot which one it was, but it says not every Sicilian's in the mafia, but we all have a phone number.
Good point.
You understand? We all have a phone number, and I've had that phone number since I'm a child. And I'm respected in that community. I'm respected among them. Well, my mob guy, I had a few very good capo friends, and he said to me, Louis, you grew up in the world. You were around everybody. Everybody likes you. Everybody respects you. You were a good writer. He goes, how come you didn't get into the life? And his name was Lou. And I said, Louis, I don't like your retirement program. and he laughed like you just laughed. And he said, I respect you, Lou. So, the whole point is it's a different life, man. I'd be deader in jail.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And you have a family, you got your friends, you got your life.
Yeah, I mean, I got 5 grandchildren. I'm here for them. And
but that's
when I see you, I'll tell you about intercession and how I wrote that book not to personally kill somebody.
Wow.
And I was a minute away from doing it myself. And I realized that that's not the way to go in life. And being in jail is not going to help my family.
Yeah, and I kind of look at it too holistically. If I look at the top 5 wealthiest Italian Americans that I know in my circle, none of the 5 are directly related. 1 or 2 maybe indirect. Like, to be honest, Lou, most of the guys that I know growing up that did really well for themselves had the connections and utilized it, but weren't in the life. Meaning, like, I knew somebody
they didn't get in the life. That's
I knew
correct.
somebody in construction that was taken care of, and he didn't have to hire union labor, or somebody who got a contract for
He had a little help. He had a little help
for things here and there, And don't get me wrong, they paid the freight, but again, that's another area. So there's a few different reasons why I think there was a demise. One, I think lack of talent pool we talked about, right? Not recruiting the right people, not pivoting. But then lastly, when it stopped coming about community, right? I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying the good guys, but I would say, at least for me, and your situation is probably different, but for me, up until like mid-90s, late 90s, if you had an issue, right, as an Italian American, you were in business or you're a local guy and you knew people, they were ready, able to help. I'm not saying you call somebody up and they beat somebody up.
Right.
I'm just saying they would intercede. Don't get me wrong. They'll give you a bill for their services.
Of course, you got to the table, right?
But they were in the community. They were like kind of like a secondary police, maybe before a lawsuit.
Right. Correct.
Nowadays, if you go to somebody, they're going to want 50%. Like you're going to end up on an FBI bug, and you're going to go to jail. You know what I mean? Like
there's no percentage
because they lost their utility, and you know this in business. When you lose your utility, or as a writer, you lose your edge. You lose everything.
It's gone,
and that's why I think the demise is imminent.
Oh no, absolutely. I think we're past the demise point. And I think your thinking is right on. There's lack of talent, lack of education. Let's say that you don't see the best and the brightest of us getting into the life.
That's right.
It's seen its day.
I was reading, and it's not as well known for this reason. In Sicily, there's a thing called high mafia. High mafia these are made men, but they're in the fabric of society. They're judges or lawyers or politicians.
Oh yeah.
And they're in and Calabrians are already there with the Freemasonry.
Right.
The P50, the P2. But they're part of like the tax collectors were part of the mob. The point being is they understand that, right? Where the Americans I had a show with a former made member, and I said, hey, who was your local politician that you guys had on the hook? And like, we didn't. I'm like, well, once you lose and you can't infiltrate politics and infiltrate the state, then you kind of lost,
Exactly. It's a whole different world over there in Sicily. You know that by being there.
Yeah.
I said to my cousin while I was in La Cara Frida, we were having a drink and a cigar, and I said, "What part of the island does the mob control still?" And he looked at me and he said, "Tutti isola, the whole island." You know, it's still there. It's not as
yeah, but they got into the eco mafia. They actually control all the wind turbines too now.
Absolutely, and they keep things on the DL. They're not out there with the suits and the fancy. You wouldn't even know them.
Nope.
And that's how it was, and that's how it should have been.
Yep.
I know a lot about the Gotti family, and I've read a lot about them. I've met a few of them. I have to tell you that he was the one who destroyed the anonymity of the mafia.
Yeah, it didn't help.
It didn't help. It didn't help. It didn't help.
It didn't help. Well, listen, I'm gonna put a link to your site. The thing I like about it is, I get some people, if you don't like Informants, this guy wrote other books. If you want to learn about the mob, he's got some 2 recent mob books. He's got stuff about the Albanians. He got stuff that are fictional. He's got some series. And you know what, Lou? I'm proud to be a fellow Italian American with you.
Great to meet you, Tom. And let's have that cigar soon.
We will soon, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Okay.
And thanks again, Lou.
Thank you, buddy.